Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special time for Unique Peace. Today, I'm very excited to have Echo Bodine on. She is a psychic medium, a healer, a mentor, a teacher, and the author of 12 books. I'm super excited to talk to her. I have read two of her books. One of them, Stir of Echoes, and the other is A Still Small Voice. So please join me in welcoming Echo Bodine.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank
Echo.
you. Hello, hello, hello. Good
How
morning.
are you today?
I'm good, sweetheart. How are you doing?
I am good. How is life in Minnesota?
Honey, it couldn't be more beautiful right now. I've got a big picture window here, so I just look out on gardens and gardens of flowers. I love it. And as soon as we're done today, I'm going to put on my grubby clothes and I'm going to head outside. So, everything's good.
Michael is joining us. He says hello and
Hello,
welcome.
Michael.
So, you are a medium and you are a healer, and I am as well. So, can you tell us about your journey um,
Wow.
to coming from that and kind of like share your story a little bit to how you got started to becoming a teacher?
Honey. Um,
That's a
The first, okay, it's a long story, honey, and I got to think about how I can cut this down. Okay, so we had an unusual experience in my family. This was back in 1965, and that led my mom to call a psychic. Now we had never been to psychics. We didn't know any of this stuff, and she called this psychic because one of my brothers saw a spirit, and it was a really freaky kind of accident. And so she called this psychic, and the psychic told her that this happened for a reason. And she said, "I need to see you and your oldest daughter for a psychic reading." And, mom, we were all just so freaked out. And, okay, but we were also curious. Why did she want to see us for a psychic reading? So we set up an appointment and we went and saw her. And she told my mom that she and my brother Michael and my sister Nikki and I were all going to be famous psychics someday. And my mom just sat there like, what?
I mean, that could be some shocking news.
Yeah, it was very shocking. And I didn't know all this of what she was telling my mom. And then I went in for my session. And she told me that I was born with all of the psychic abilities and with the gift of healing, and that um, was going to be a professional psychic. I would teach people how to, she said, first you're going to learn how to develop your abilities, and then you're going to teach others. You're going to write many books. You're going to be on radio and TV. You're going to travel around the world. I'm like, what? And I said to her, Uh, two things. I said, first of all, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any of this stuff. And secondly, I don't want any of this stuff. Okay, I just want to have a nice, normal life. I'm going to go to
Right.
college, be a social worker, get married, have kids. That's it. That's my plan. And she said, well, you can do that in your next life. But this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing in this life. And she said, I have to tell you two things about the gift of healing. She said, don't ever forget the energy comes from God. It's God that heals people, not you. And she said, always use white hankies underneath your hands when you're channeling energy. And she said, I can't tell you why. And she said, teachers will come along and teach you about the gift of healing. Oh boy. And she said, your father's at home with a migraine headache, which he was. And she said, um, go home, put some hankies on your father's head, put your hands on top of them and ask God to work through you. And she said, um, after that, you'll learn more on your own and from master teachers. And again, this was all gobbledygook to me. I didn't know what this lady was talking about. And so on the whole way home, I was 17. I was a senior in high school. What? And the whole way home, mom and I were saying, why do we have to do this weird stuff? What? And um, it just did not make any sense. Uh, so we got home and we told my dad, who didn't want us to go to the psychic, told my dad that what she said. And I said, can I put my hands on your head? I was really shy about it. And he said, yeah, just don't hurt my head. So I just put the hankies on his head and I put my hands on his head. And all of a sudden they heated up like little heating pads. And I thought,
That might be the first time it happens.
yeah. And I thought, what is this? And my hands just felt glued to his head. And then they started to tremble a little bit. And I could actually feel this something in my arms and like that. It, honest to God, girl, it was maybe a minute, if that long. And then they cooled off. I took my hands off and my dad said, well, I'll be damned if my headache isn't gone. And I was like, what? I mean, what? And oh God, I was so freaked out that night changed our lives forever. And
Absolutely.
you'll get a kick out of this, honey. So mom and I are trying to think, okay, so we're going to be famous psychics someday. So let's see, what should we do? We should probably buy a Ouija board. Okay, let's go get a Ouija board. And I think psychics use incense. So there was this one occult, that's what it was called back then, one
That's what it was called.
occult bookstore in the seediest part of downtown Minneapolis. So we went down there. I swear, girl, we wanted to wear bags on our head. We didn't want anybody to know we were going in there. And we went in and we bought, I swear, I bet you it was $100 worth of incense. Because we thought, okay, we got our Ouija board. Now we've got our incense. Okay, we're ready. Let's go.
Really?
Oh my God. There was so much to learn. Oh my God. And she said that a woman would be coming along soon and teach us how to develop our psychic abilities. Okay. And it was maybe, I don't know, honey, after that, maybe a couple weeks later, a lady called out of the blue and said that her spirit guides gave her the names of my mom and I and said that they told her to teach us how to develop her psychic ability. She was a spiritualist minister. We didn't even know what that was. And okay. And she gave us the address and said, I'll expect to see you in my home a week from Thursday. And she hung up the phone. So mom came and told me about this. And I said, Mom, I am so freaked out right now. I can't do this. And she said, well, let's just go one time, see what it's like, and we don't ever have to go back. I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And honey, you know what? When we went that night and she explained what psychic abilities were, it's like, well, I've always done that. I've always had visions in my mind that come true.
Right?
I always know stuff. I always get thoughts in my head that are random. What? That's psychic abilities? And you know, honey, I remember back in second grade. One day I was just sitting in class and I was just looking around and I saw one of the girls in sitting in her desk and I just knew, oh, she's going to get sick tonight. She's not going to be here tomorrow. Oh, that's too bad. And so it was just a thought, like all of them, they always just come in like that. And the next day, her desk was empty and the teacher, announced little Vicky was sick today. And I thought, Well, didn't you all know that yesterday? We all knew that yesterday. And I was so confused on why the teacher was acting so confused. I didn't get it. But I didn't say anything to anybody. I just, I didn't know what was going on. And honey, it's been like that all throughout my life until Mrs. Olson or Bertie, the teacher, started to explain all of it. And then it was just like getting pieces to a jigsaw puzzle. Oh, that's
Yeah,
why I do that. That's why I know that. Oh, that's why my hand. Oh, I get it. And that's how it all started. Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, um, as you know, we're on Unique Peace, so you have that remarkable story. You've written books. You are now a teacher and a mentor. So, how do you find peace?
Um, my yard, my garden. I, honey, that's where I go. I also, I wake up in the morning and I sit on, I make a cup of decaf. I sit on the side of my bed with my cat and I just sit and talk to God. And I talk to God like a regular person. I don't,
Yeah.
it, yeah. And I just say, what should I do today? Hmm. Well, I need to do this and this and this. What do you think about that? Oh, no? Oh, okay. Have you got other, it's like, have you got other plans for me today? Yeah. Oh, okay. And I get to this place where all of a sudden I'm calm and I'm ready for the day. And I kind of have my plans and that's what I do. And it's my classes, I have 3 classes on Zoom right now. They just kind of calm me down. It's nice to be able to talk to people about these gifts and watch the light bulbs go on over their head, just like with me and Bertie. Like, oh, that's why I do that. Oh, that's what that is. That gives me peace also. Um, what doesn't give me peace is when I'm around large crowds anymore. I can't. It drives me nuts because so many people want to come up and they want to talk about psychic stuff. They want me to give them a reading. Their lives are a mess. Blah 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 blah. And that's when I think I got to get out of here. I can't. So honey, I actually avoid crowds as much as possible or any kind of social gatherings. I have social gatherings at my teaching center. And the day of, I just kind of get ready and I put a little bit of armor around me and off I go. And it's like when I tell myself, okay, you can do this for 8 hours. You can do this. All right, off I go. And I try to be as loving and kind with people as I can because, a lot of people that come, they're looking for answers. Their lives are a mess. And not everybody, but a lot of them are really searching. And so I get in that mind frame of, okay, this is what I'm here to do. And then after that, then I completely pull back. Like I said, I do everything on Zoom and then I can handle it. And I can handle it. So that's how I
So
find.
Zoom has actually given it causes a lot of people anxiety, but it's actually brought you a lot of peace. It's like you can
Yeah.
kind of control your environment that way.
Yes. 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 Mhm.
Yes. I too have found as I've gotten older, I don't like crowds, but it's more of the overwhelming energy than people coming at
Yes.
me. So
Yeah.
there's an
Okay.
overwhelming energy. It's a
Yeah.
collect, as you know, we're all part of the collective. We are part of the oneness.
Yep.
And then we're just like little drops in our own little bucket. But when you get a bunch of those buckets and they all have different
Oh, I
energies
know.
and intentions, it's a lot.
It
And
is.
and so I totally understand not wanting to be out in crowds. And it's like, and I like going to concerts and I love going to the races, but I, like you, have to mentally prepare and say,
Yeah.
okay, this
Yeah.
is what we're doing.
That's right.
And,
That's right, honey. Yeah.
as
We,
my teacher taught me, she taught me like you put on the armor. She taught us to surround, ground, and protect. We surround ourselves in white light, we ground ourselves into the earth energy, and we protect our own energy against anything negative coming at us.
Yes, nice. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah. That's how we can do it, honey. And what's nice is to be able to teach other people. Okay, you don't have to go crazy here. I mean, some people they like just stay in their house all the time because too much energy. And so it's nice to be able to teach people how to, no, just this is what you need to do. So, all in all, honey, I look back at my career and I'm grateful for everything. It's just been such a strange career to, I mean, now, of course, I look back and I can't imagine doing anything else. But I tell you, for a long, long time, it just seems so bizarre to me. Just a whole other world that I never imagined myself walking into. And yet, you know, it's just nice to put the pieces together for people. That's what I like, is helping people understand all of this differently and look at it differently. So that's what's going on in my world, honey.
That actually flows into the next question I like to ask: and how do you bring peace to others?
Mainly that way. It's interesting. Just the other day, I think it was a couple days ago, I woke up and I heard a voice say, "Teach people to observe." So I went and got my decaf. I sat on the side of the bed and I said, "Okay, what?" And uh, this, honey, it was cool. It was just like this whole thing was laid out to me about bringing people up to a higher level, going past the emotional, going past the victim thinking, and observe from a higher place of. And it was interesting because they used the example of the pandemic, and they said, okay, they said, so have people write down on a piece of paper what was all the bad stuff that happened during the pandemic to them personally. Okay, so people, okay. And then they said, all right, now we want you to imagine yourself going up a set of stairs. And up at the top of the stairs is a beautiful chair, very comfortable. And you sit down in that chair and you sit back and you observe. You observe all the good that came out of that pandemic for you. Look at how each bad thing seemed to have a happy ending to it or a happy resolution. Observe it like God observes us. God observes us from a higher perspective. No judgments, no expectations, just God observes everything as an experience for us. And we can choose to either be the victim and go through the experience or be the victor and go through the experience. And so um, have people write down, well, how did that bad thing turn out? Oh, I really like working at home. Oh, okay. How else did it turn out? Well, I found the greatest daycare. I never would have found them if it wasn't for the pandemic. Oh, okay. So, honey, it was really cool. And I've been thinking about it ever since Thursday of helping people go up higher and observe their life, not from the victim thinking, but okay, what did you learn from that experience? What did you learn from that experience? Oh, well, I learned, you know what I mean, honey? Taking them out.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, taking them out of how they're looking at their life now and bringing them up to a higher place. And again, the voice just kept saying, just observe, try to step out of, oh my God, now what? That kind of thinking, and observe. Oh, be detached. So I've been thinking lately about I'd like to put together something, maybe a workshop on that or something, some way to,
If you're,
honey, some way to bring more peace to people, help them or like let go of all the shackles of how hard life can be and start to look at life from um, the perspective of look at all the little presents we get each day. You know what I mean? Instead of, yeah, all the negative stuff that we see. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's interesting. This is the first time I've even said all that out loud because it's just kind of worming away around my little head. And so thanks for asking that question, honey, because that was good. That helped me.
that's
That was good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember a card. I actually, I'm doing a program myself, and I have a small cohort. And one of the emails I sent out recently is, "What is this teaching me?" And it goes back to a
Yes.
card that my mom sent because back in the 90s when I went to college, there wasn't a Wells Fargo anywhere near Valpo. I love Valpo dearly, but they didn't have Wells Fargo. So I
Yeah.
needed my mom to go take out money and send me some money. And the card she put it in was great because I love cats. I'm a big cat person. So it's got this cat on it. And I remember it vividly. It's got this cat and he's pinned up with all these dogs barking at him. Like I get, he's up against the fence and it says, they say you learn your biggest lessons through your biggest, or you learn them the most from your most difficult mistakes. And you
Yeah.
open it up and say, what a stupid system. but, but, but
Yes. Amen.
what, what was great about the card is we do learn. You have to stop and take a look at what did I learn from this? It's like
I
you learn
know.
something, even if
I
it
know.
was don't do that again.
Yes.
It's
Yes. Yes.
the
Yes.
toddler with the hot pot. Don't touch it. You're going to burn yourself. Don't touch it. You're going to burn yourself.
Yeah.
They have to touch it and get burned for them to learn the lesson.
I know.
And so
I
when
know.
you step back and observe, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have fought so much on in resistance on that,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
maybe this would
Yes.
have happened sooner if I would have done let go or done X, Y, Z.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I love where your brain is headed and the
I
observe.
know. I know, honey. One simple little word, observe. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. This very moment is just thinking about that, how I can bring that to people and help them just move up a couple notches. So what do you do every day, honey?
Well, I get up early and I take in, I like you, I don't do DTF. I still have to get up and go to work. So I,
Oh, bummer. Okay.
so I have my coffee and I'll read or I'll journal or I'll just sit in quietude. And
Okay.
then I exercise. I like to take at least a 3 mile walk when it's nice out. Otherwise, I do
Wow.
like stretching or some sort of yoga or weights. And
Okay.
then I feel like I'm ready. It's like by the time I'm like ready to go to work, I feel like the world is kind of behind me. Like you need to catch up because I've
Yes.
taken the time for myself.
Yes.
And it took a long time to get there. I've been through a lot. Anyone who knows my story knows I've been through a lot. And to
Okay.
get where I'm at, I
Yeah.
really encourage people and help people to kind of work on that and find that 1 hour for yourself,
Yes,
whether it's
honey.
in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, that 1 hour for yourself and
Yes.
do some self-care, hot bath, exercise, read, journal, just me time. And I know the standard excuses. I'm a single mom now, and even when I was in the throes of a bad marriage, it took time. There were starts and stops, and I understand that kind of pain, but you still have to do it because
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others and you can't pour from an empty cup. I know both of those are very cliche, but they're very truthful.
They are, honey. They are. Yeah, I agree. So
So
you're
it's
single
always,
mom, honey?
I
You're
am.
single. Tell me about your child.
I have a moody 16-year-old boy.
Okay. All right.
So that's where I'm at with my parental journey is. I'm
Sorry.
in the
That sounds
adolescence.
that sounds like a headache to me, honey. But
Yeah.
observe, observe,
Yeah.
observe. Yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. Remember your short stint on The Young and the Clueless and how you're like grateful not to be on it anymore? I'm not in The Young and the Clueless anymore, but it's interesting to watch it happening out before me. It's
Yes.
like
Yes.
I could
Yes.
tell you until I'm blue in the face, but that goes back to that hot pot. Like you're gonna have to touch that hot pot because anything I say is not gonna register.
Right. Right. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Oh boy. Wow.
So
And
just
honey, where are you? What part of the country or world?
I'm in Long Island, New York.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, that's nice. And
Yeah,
what's it
you're
like there?
actually right. Today is beautiful, but it could be hot and humid in the summer. We're on the
Okay.
island.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think
but
we pretty much have the same
yeah.
kind of weather. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
And
I remember. The bulk of my family is from Minnesota. My biological parents are from Bloomington. My mom and dad are from Bloomington, and then my stepdad's from Chicago, or Chicagoland near the Great Lakes. I'm very familiar with the land of
okay.
10,000 lakes.
Okay. Now let's go back to the word my biological parents. I want to know more about this. Most people
Well,
don't
I
say
grew up
it
with
like
my. I say it like that is I grew up with my mom, but I have my dad and I have my stepdad, and my stepdad I do believe came into my life because of my dad because I lost my dad when I was very young.
that.
So
Okay.
when I say biological parents, I don't mean I was adopted. I mean I grew
Okay.
up with my mom and my stepdad, but my dad is very much a part of my life to this day.
Okay. The deceased dad. The
My
deceased
deceased
dad.
dad.
Okay. Got it,
Yes,
honey. Okay.
yeah, he
Okay.
passed.
Just
Yeah.
trying to catch
So
up here. Okay. Got it.
no,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
So hung out in Bloomington and Savage and Ridgefield and Richmond and all
Okay.
those
Yeah.
many summers, many
Honey,
summers.
do you remember the Hub Shopping Center in Richfield?
Yes.
That's where I have my teaching center in the Hub Shopping Center.
Oh, beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I
Yeah.
had an aunt who lived there. I think they might have moved back there. They lived in Arizona for a while, and I think I know they moved back to Minnesota, but I don't know which. I know they're not far from like Appleton, so,
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
so
Well, fun. So you know right where my center is. That's nice.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cool.
that's nice. So if I'm ever back in town, I can say
Wow.
hi.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
Oh gosh.
yeah, but the weather it can be muggy like Minnesota and the Great Lakes areas, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, honey.
But
I know.
it's nice. We find peace at the beach. My boyfriend and I like to go to the beach. My son's a fish. He likes to
Okay.
be in the water.
Okay. All right. Good.
So
Good. So that's good, honey. So you get grounded at the beach. That's good.
yes,
Okay. Good.
yes, but yeah, just making sure that that time for me, I know that it started out small, but has grown to be that first hour of my morning. And it's like
Good.
I overslept once. I had to reset my phone, and this was recently. I overslept. I was like, Spirit got me up at 4:45. I'm like, okay, stumble, make coffee. My coffee will be drinkable heat when I wake up. I woke up at 5:30, disoriented. I'm like, guess I'm just reading today. So, because I took
Oh.
so
Whoa.
you know how disorienting, but I didn't let that throw me off. That's another thing is always return to center as quickly as possible.
Good for
I'm
you.
sure to some people it's bipolar, but the sooner you can recenter, the sooner you can make it through the day through
Good for you,
with
honey.
that.
Good. That sounds great. Good.
Yes.
Good. And do you teach this to people, honey?
I am not teaching the mediumship portion or the psychic portion. It's the self transformation in taking care of themselves.
Okay.
That's what I've been guided to do and focus on is teach people how to take that time for self care. It's
Okay.
like
Good.
identify
Good.
where they're at and how to, like you said, bring them up. how to help them to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. Good. Wow.
And like I incorporate Reiki and a couple of other things that I've learned energy wise, also just to kind of help recenter their energy and get them back to flow.
Good, honey. Good. That sounds really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, you've written several books,
Yes, I
so
have.
many. What is your favorite book? Because I am actually, and in preparation for a conversation, went back to The Still Small Voice.
Okay.
And it's been very, it's like, oh, I needed that reminder. Oh, I needed that reminder. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Oh, let's
So,
see what happened. Yeah. Honey, what is my favorite one?
yeah.
I think my favorite one is Echoes of the Soul. And then my second, oh boy. Honey, the one that just came out last, was it even this year? I don't remember. Um, huh. It's called How to Live a Happily Ever After Life. And it it's a good book. They're all good, obviously, but that I think, but a lot of people are saying that they understand death better because it's all about the gosh, I haven't even talked about this book for a while. Let me switch gears here. You know, honey, what it is? Okay, so my brother and I, Michael, we became a ghost busting team, and oh, God, it certainly wasn't called. We weren't called Ghostbusters back then. People would just call and say, "I think I have something in my house. Will you come and look?" And yes, we'd go and look, and one by one, each experience, our guides would teach us what to do with these folks that were hanging out in people's houses. And they really simple. They said, ask them what their name is, ask them why they're here. And so we did that every time we went to a haunted house or a business. What's your name? Why are you here? And the cool thing is both Michael and I can see spirit. So, and it's nice to have a partner that can see them because, sometimes they're so light. Sometimes you think, okay, am I making that up? Is there really a person over there? Yeah. And so for me to walk into a room, I look around and I see a lady in a red dress over in the corner, but it's so light. So I can look at Michael and say, honey, what do you see in here? He said, oh, there's a lady over in the corner in a red dress. It's it's really, honey, it's really helpful. So the book is about the six main reasons that we have found with people, um, with ghosts, of why they choose to stay earthbound. And I tell you, these souls, they're all, one thing I've definitely learned about ghosts is they're very young souls, and they have a lot of conflict about death and heaven and hell and Satan and God. And so I wrote about that. And it was interesting because my brother called me one day and he said, how's the book coming? And I said, it's coming, honey. I said, I said, there's something missing and I can't quite put my finger on what I need to do. And he said, you need to put an exercise at the end of each chapter and ask the reader, well, how do you feel about this? Like if somebody, some of these ghosts are so afraid they're going to get sent to hell. And so, like in that chapter, I asked the reader, well, what do you think about hell? What do you think about Satan? Do you think that you've been a really bad person and that's where you're going to go? Do you have conflicts about heaven and hell? Write it out. And um, so a lot of people have said, wow, this really helped me think about what do I believe. And so that one, honey, I was so guided to write it. And And then Michael put the final piece on it. So many people have said, "Oh, I'm so glad you have that exercise at the end of each chapter. It's really cool." So that one is, well, but then I wrote one called What Happens When We Die. That's a really good one too, honey. I can't really say. I guess my very first, the book that really puts it together for people is Echoes of the Soul. And that's
Yes,
just the
that's so
soul's perspective of life, death, and life after death. And then everything else is just a shoot off from what I do. So yeah.
do you find the writing process to be peaceful and cathartic to you?
Oh my God. Honey, uh, writing is like going to the dentist to me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as exciting and fun as it is for me to write. And oh my God. And I remember, okay, so this was way back in 1983, and I'd been doing healings for a while. And one day, the soul, the spirit of Jesus, walks into my living room because he was the one that taught me, honey, with each time that I would go and do a healing on someone, I had either Jesus show up or I had a Dr. Yang, I think that was his name, Yang. And there was a Native American Indian, white horse. One of those three would show up every time I was doing a healing on someone, and they would assist me. They would tell me how to do this. Um, and so one day, just hanging out, and Jesus shows up and he says, "You need to read. You need to write a book about healing because people are complicating it too much." And he said, "Keep it simple." And I looked at him, I said, "Write a book?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, I can barely write a paragraph. And he said, "It's okay, I'll help you." And it's like, I don't know what to do. And he said, "I'll help you." And he did, honey. He or the other two would show up like in the mornings and they'd say, "Okay, now today we're going to write about blah, blah, blah." And so then I would just write my experiences about it. And, uh, I, oh, honey, I had a total of 19 pages. And I thought, well, there, it's a book. And I showed it to a friend of mine who was a published author. And it was pretty funny. And she said the book was excellent. It needed to be a little bigger. And I said to her, "Well, I don't know how I can make it any bigger." And so she said, "Can I just sit and read it again?" And sure. She said, I'll show you any ideas. I'll give you any ideas that I get. Okay. So, honey, honest to God, one day in the mail comes this letter, and I didn't recognize the return address, so I threw it in the garbage. All of a sudden, all three of these spirits, they're like, "Get that letter." Okay. So I take it out of the garbage. I open it up. It's a letter from a publishing company. Lynn has forwarded us your manuscript, and we would love to publish this book, but you need to bring it up to 160 pages. And you can do that by adding personal stories of working with clients, which hadn't even occurred to me to do. Yeah. And I thought, 160 pages. That's going to take me 10 years. And, but honey, I was able to get it together and I sent it in. They loved it. They published. I mean, the universe just put the whole thing together for me. So that's how it all started. And then before you knew it, they show up and say, "Okay, now it's time to write about the soul's journey." I'm like, "Oh God, you guys, I don't like
Killing
writing."
me, moms.
Here's all these people out here in the world. Oh, they love to write and they write every day. And I'm like, oh God. So yeah, it's not joyful for me to write, honey. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah.
It pains me. My son doesn't like to read or write either, and I am a writer. Even got my
Okay.
master's in it, and I don't want to read, Mom. I'm like, you're breaking my heart, but I can't control it.
Yes.
I can't.
Oh
There
my
are a lot of people in my life who don't like to read. It's like,
God.
I get
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
audiobooks are a good thing. Um,
Yes. 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 Mhm.
and I know it's something that I find pleasure in. They don't have to. And it's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm going to go read. I need a timeout. So I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
I
same
mean,
with writing.
my boyfriend, that's all he ever wants to do is read. Read, 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 read. He just loves to read. He loves to read. So he'll come over and sit out in the backyard and he'll read his book and I'll do all my gardening and it works out great. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
So, what is in your toolbox? If someone were to come up to you, your sister, your brother, a good friend, and say, I'm just stressed out. I need to recenter quickly. I got to go to XYZ, and I know it's going to be overwhelming. What can you pull out of your toolbox and say, try this
Oh
to bring
my.
peace quickly?
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Um, Probably what I would do. Well, of course, I'd just calm them down. Let's just breathe. And now, and I, yeah, what I would do is what I do when I get like that. And it's just, okay, Echo, stop thinking about tomorrow, stop thinking about tonight, stop thinking about the bills that are due, because there's all that chatter going on in the back of our minds all the time. So, like if I'm in my office, okay, here's my keypad. We're going to just focus on this, nothing else, nothing else. And if you can get people, at least for me, if I can get myself really focused on the moment, oh, then I'm fine. Take all that stuff off and just focus on right in front of me. Can you hear that? My
I
neighbors are
can't.
barking. Oh, oh dear. He's got I have a woodpecker that comes and pecks at my house all the time. They're always looking for termites.
Yes.
That's not him.
I
That's
have my stepdad's father used to appear as a woodpecker, which is a better alternative to how he used to come to me. So I'll take
oh,
the woodpecker.
okay. Yeah,
I'll take the woodpecker any day.
yeah.
Trust me on that one. He smoked Durrells in his physical life, and so
Okay.
it used to be I'd be sitting in the office, and all of a sudden you know how each cigarette has a distinct scent, and I'm like, I'm in a building where smoking isn't even allowed. I'm like, who just walked by? Nobody walked by, so I knew it was him.
Yep.
And then he changed MO to woodpecker, and I'm like, thank you. I will take Woody over smoke any day.
That's so funny. That is so funny. So, what do you do, honey, when people come to you and they're just like stressed to the max?
I work on getting them to calm down for a minute. It's like with my sister, it's like, okay, we take a breath in, we hold, we release,
Okay.
and to kind of find out what brought it on. And like,
Yes.
okay, well, try this and oh, try that. Or okay, maybe you can just breathe in the car. When you get to where you're going, all right, now you're just gonna sit there for a minute. You're gonna surround, ground, and protect before you walk in because if you're that stressed out about it, you know kind of what you're walking into, the kind of energy. It's going to be frenetic and chaotic, and you need to be that serene in your little serene bubble.
Yep. Yep.
I,
Yep.
I
Yep.
say put yourself in the disco ball. So it's like anything coming at you gets
Yes.
deflected back out. And it's like, nope, not
Yes.
mine, not mine.
Yes.
Put it out
Yes.
into the universe for transmutation. So I will advise people to do that a lot. Just take a
Good.
moment to meditate. It's like you can meditate for a couple minutes before going on to the next thing, even if
Yep.
you have to run to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom and you just go to the bathroom and meditate.
Got it. I got it. hmm the other thing, something my teacher taught, honey, that if you've read any of my books, I always talk about it, is mirror necklaces. My teacher, Bertie, she told all the girls in class to wear mirrors in our bras facing out. And that sounded horrible to me. So I never did it. But I walked into a store one day because Bertie said the mirror will reflect all negative energy away from you, but it'll accept positive energy. So I walked into a store probably 10, 15 years later. Is that annoying you, honey? Do you want me
No,
to?
I
Okay.
can hear that.
Um, and on the counter, there was a necklace and it had a mirror on it. And I thought, I wonder what that would be like. And so I bought it and I started wearing it. And oh my God, it was like I felt like I had been reborn because I didn't feel everything when I went into a store, or honey, I felt really free. And so I wear my mirror necklace when I feel like, oh boy, this is going to be an intense day. Like when I have an open house at my center, I'll wear a mirror necklace, and you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed how nice it is. You just really feel different. And I have all my students get mirror necklaces, and the guys, Bertie said to the men in class, she said, just get some kind of mirror that you can put in your pocket. No, it doesn't have to be visible. And I think too that just the intention of it, you're putting on this mirror necklace to keep. So I think, honey, that intention just puts it in our aura of
Yeah.
there, nice and
That's
protected.
why we call it the disco ball. So when we put on, when we surround, ground, and protect, I was picture myself in the disco ball with all the mirrors outward.
Good. Nice. Nice.
So it's like, and it's always whatever is sent to me is reflected back to you with the highest intention and lessons learned. So
Nice.
it's
Very
like if you're
nice.
trying to send me negative energy, it will go
Yeah.
back out into the world for you to learn, and I will learn whatever I need to learn from it as well.
Yep. Yep.
And I
Got
mean, that works both ways. If I've got, some negative feelings, it's like, okay, well, why am I feeling this way?
it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Good, honey. Good.
so yes, that was a very good lesson that Pat Longo, my teacher, has really instilled.
Pat
And
Longo.
so
Okay.
he's,
Nice.
he's my OG. And then I'm having my first Reiki master teacher, well, my only Reiki master teacher coming on in a couple of weeks. And
Okay.
they have the same philosophy. But I work with obsidian a lot. And that's,
Okay.
um, um, the black obsidian is very intense, but I was introduced to mahogany obsidian, which is gentler because when you hold that, that's intense, but that can be very intense for you. It can be very
Okay.
intense because like it shows you how you're part of the problem. And if you're not ready to see how you're part of the problem and find a solution, you
Yeah.
should not be messing with obsidian.
Okay. I get it, honey. I get it. Yes. 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 Hmm.
Whereas the mahogany obsidian does the same thing, but it's gentler in the
Oh, no.
energy it gives you.
Okay. Good. Good.
It's like
Oh,
tourmaline is very good for protection. I literally have this wild story. I was working at a place, and a friend of mine who's very in tune, she bought me a big piece of raw black tourmaline. And I would
okay.
just happen to be holding it in my hand as we were chatting, and one of the coworkers whose energy and mine has this huge conflict. I don't know exactly what it was between us, but there was this huge conflict. It started getting really hot just a minute before she walked in the building. And as she walked by, and I was transferring it to, I think, the other hand because I thought my hands were hot, it was actually the stone, it broke in half.
It
That
did.
stone took the hit. Yeah, that piece of tourmaline took the hit for me. The
Oh,
negative energy that was directed at me, it took the hit.
oh
And
man. Oh
yeah,
man. Yeah.
my teacher said, "You're going to need to bury that back in the ground to diffuse
Yeah.
whatever happened and get a different piece of tourmaline." So yeah,
Oh, wow, honey. Wow.
yes, we do a lot of work with crystals and stones. I love that. I know some people, oh, it's just shiny rocks. What does that shiny rock do? I need to know.
I know. I know. I know, honey. I know.
So I can totally understand the mirror necklace. And like I said, Pat used to like have a reflection out, and I just went to a disco ball because of all the little mirrors, and you never know where the energy is coming from. So it's like, okay,
You're right.
send it back up
You're
there.
right. You're right. I know. Yeah. Yeah. I have a student who she got two mirror necklaces. One faces it this way, and she wears the other one in her back to keep her clear in the back.
She's got her own six.
I know. It's
That's
pretty funny.
awesome.
But it works. It works.
As long as it works, that's all we can really say.
All we want. Yeah. Just work. So what are you going to do for the rest of the day, honey?
I'm going to have lunch with Michael, my boyfriend. You met him, and my son Jeffrey,
Okay.
and then just relax. I have to work on some emails for my program, and
Okay.
being accountable for that. So
Good. Okay. Good, honey. So a nice, easy Sunday.
nice, easy Sunday.
Good. Good. Me too. I'm going out in the garden.
Going out in the garden. Beautiful. Do you have any thoughts or anything you want to share with us before we go regarding peace?
Honey, the thing that's most important to me is people living by their intuition. I swear I give these talks in my sleep. Honest to God, I am always talking about you got to live by your intuition. You got to live by your intuition. So, um, boy, oh boy, if people want to live in peace and want to have a nice, cool, fun, magical life, learn how to live by your intuition. Find out what it is, where it's located, and listen to it every day. I can't say enough about it. I absolutely love intuition. That's all people need, honey. As far as I'm concerned, if they listen to their intuition, and it will guide them every time, it's a pretty fun journey to go on. So that's what I always say to people. Find it and trust it and listen to it and act on it. And then you get to really see the magic of life. Yep. That's my parting words. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
honey.
want to. I'm gonna put you in the green room for a moment.
Okay.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today for Unique Peace with Echo Bodine. I am so grateful that she came on, talked peace with us, shared some stories, and I look forward to the possibility of hosting her again. I wish everyone a great afternoon.